Now, in case you missed it, let's just catch you up to speed on what exactly happened during this Xfinity race. So, Noah Gragson was caught up in an early scrap, kept the car competitive for most of the race, and then we had a car that missed its pit box, which forced Daniel Hemric, who was behind Noah Gragson's pit box, to slide in to Gragson's pit box. Noah Gragson really did not appreciate that. I don't know if Gragson was aware of the car behind Hemric that was in Hemric's box that had to back up. So it was basically just a chain reaction of cars just missing their pit boxes. So after that, Hemric backs into his pit box. Noah Gragson goes around Hemric, pulls in, backs up into Hemric's car during live green flag pit stops. And Daniel Hemric did not appreciate that either. And after the race, Hemric and Gragson throw haymakers, man. So the one thing that I want to talk about is, was NASCAR in the right of not penalizing anybody, because no driver was penalized? Then, I want to look at both sides of this story because it's really tough to determine. There's not much hard evidence to really look at to really determine whether Gragson backing into Hemric on pit road was intentional or not. Gragson's bumper did make contact with the front end of Daniel Hemric's car, but the tires on Gragson's car still remained in his pit box, and that's the one caveat. Typically when NASCAR looks at these situations, pitting outside of your pit box, your tires are outside of your pit box. If your back bumper's out there, typically no fault. It did cut it close, but with all things considered, Gragson's tires were still located inside of his pit box. No penalties to Gragson, Hemric, or any of the team or crew members that were involved in this physical altercation. And, Noah Gragson has developed this personality of being scrappy both on the track and off the track. He drives very aggressively. We know that. And, he's had his share of physical altercations in the past, and it's, becoming almost normal to see Noah Gragson in these altercations week in and week out, to be honest. I like Noah Gragson. I love his tenacity. I love the controversy that surrounds him. It gives us these stories, and it's great for us to be able to commentate on it. But honestly, after reviewing this, it seemed like it was uncalled for, especially because of how dangerous pit road is. People don't realize how dangerous live green flag pit stops are, because one little slip and, guys could get hurt really, really badly. So depending on where Hemric's team was in the pit stop, someone could have got crunched between Hemric's bumper and the front bumper of Hemric and the back of Noah Gragson. And we've seen guys get crunched and get seriously hurt. Ryan Blaney's crew member a few years ago, or maybe even a year ago, I can't remember off the top of my head, got crunched in between a car and hurt his leg really badly. So, these guys, they're athletes. Most of these pit crew members are former, whether it be NFL players or former professional athletes, so these guys and girls are badasses on pit road, and they don't get enough credit for putting their lives in danger because, unaware of what can happen, they're so focused on getting their job done for their team. So, Noah Gragson, at the end of the day, did put Daniel Hemric's team in danger. Atlanta Motor Speedway itself, its pit road is extremely narrow. So, room for error is even more emphasized there. Just how calculated and just how perfect these pit stops need to be. So, with all that in consideration, it'll be interesting to see where these two drivers go from there. We did see a couple birds being flipped from Gragson. I'm not sure if Hemric was able to get one out there himself, but that definitely shows some intention, and that's as hard of evidence as we have as far as the intention to back into Hemric there. But it's just very difficult to determine. But just being that it is Noah Gragson, that controversy that surrounds him, people will be quick to judge, just exactly what happened. But I think right here, this situation definitely was uncalled for. I don't think NASCAR should penalize drivers for fighting. I think fighting on pit road is awesome. You can disagree with me with that if you want, but that's my hot take. Look, the excitement that we get, obviously drivers, putting themselves in harm's way and beating up on each other is probably not what we want. But come on, a nice little scrap, a nice little fight on pit road. Come on, that gets the fans going. That gets the adrenaline pumping. I mean, that we like to see it. There's no denying it. You know, if someone gives you the option to see a fight on pit road or not, you're gonna want to see the fight on pit road. I mean, it's just what makes the sport more exciting. And you know, we're able to see the personality of these drivers now because we talk about all these young drivers and how much they're like dry toast. And so Noah Gragson being this outgoing personality and this passionate personality, it's good for NASCAR. But at some point, we need to pump the brakes on it. And this is one of those situations where it's just putting the crew members in danger on pit road during the green flag pit stops. I just thought was uncalled for. But again, it's difficult to determine just with the lack of hard evidence that we have whether it was intentional or not. So the debate will continue to be talked about. And like I said, we'll see where these two drivers go from there in the weeks to come.